Hello everybody, welcome back. We are in Doom 2016 once again. This time I'm in the open beta on PC. I played the closed beta on Xbox One, and I kind of gave it, average first impressions at best. I thought it was, kind of screamed a mediocrity and wasn't a whole lot, that you would have been missing out if you'd skipped over it. But I thought, I have the opportunity to play this again in open beta on, earlier in the beta cycle. And on PC, my preferred platform. So I thought, maybe I was a little unfair. Maybe I should give it another chance, see if it changes my mind at all. And it definitely changed my mind, but not in a good way. If anything, I'm just more jaded and more disappointed in what they're calling Doom nowadays. It's left me pretty disappointed. So first of all, I'd like to give an apology to my Xbox One, because I kind of ragged on it for performance, and the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, neither of them are powerhouses by any means, but the Xbox One especially kind of lags behind in everything, having to run in either lower resolutions or lower frame rates than the PS4 on pretty much every multi-platform game. And I kind of ragged on it in the closed beta. I gave it the benefit of a doubt that maybe it was an older build that wasn't optimized or whatever, but not only did the image look really blurry, like overly saturated with FXAA, it just didn't look right. It didn't look exactly 1080p to me, but because of the FXAA, perhaps it was. But the biggest thing was that it looked like it was dropping frames constantly, like sub 30 FPS a lot of the times on a game that was 60 FPS, and perhaps it was actually in the mid 30s, but when you drop from 60 to 30, it looks horrible. Kills your responsiveness even on a controller, and I just like, how's this game running this so bad, or how's this system running this so bad? I just don't understand why it would be running so well in one situation and then just tanks. And I figured, it has to be hardware, it has to be that. So I jump on my PC expecting to have solid 60 FPS, and just to be sure about it, I set it on 1080p at reasonable anti-aliasing, because the advanced settings are locked out, and I'm running a 980 Ti and an i7 2600K, which is older, but I have it overclocked to 4.5 gigahertz, and I experienced the same thing. And I was thinking, what in the fuck is there, what problem is there? I downloaded NVIDIA's latest drivers for the beta. It was like a hot fix just for that. Didn't fix anything. I said, all right, let's see what's happening. So I put on the in-game Steam frame counter up the top left, and this is the most curious thing I've ever experienced in my life. You could obviously see it when you're watching the game. The frame rate slow down. You can see it going from a smooth 60 FPS to what looks like mid-30s, and it felt that way responsiveness-wise on a keyboard and mouse. Yet, if you look at the top left corner, it's a constant 60 FPS. I don't know what that means. This is the first time I've ever seen that, and I tried Shadowplay's frame counter. It said the exact same thing. I don't know if that... And I tried it in borderless windowed. I tried it in windowed, I tried it in full screen. Said the same thing every time. So I don't know if the engine is like buffering frames or what it's doing, but it always says 60 FPS no matter what. And this is with adaptive VSync, this was with no VSync, this was with hard VSync, this is through VSync enabled, both adaptive and just regular VSync through the NVIDIA control panel. I tried literally every setup I possibly could, and to the same result every time, even on 720p. And what was super strange about this is that my CPU nor GPU usage never went past like 70%, which would make sense because this game is locked at 60 FPS. My hardware should be able to run that 1080p no problem. But when I put it at 720p, it would, drop down about to 40% versus 60-70, which makes sense just by, if you do some math with the pixel count, but it would be the same performance. So I don't know what to make of this. If this is just one of the shittiest ports of all time for all platforms, if there's something wrong with the game engine, I don't understand it. But there are physical slowdowns that don't appear to be directly related to frame rate, and I can't figure it out. It's the most curious, case of performance I've ever seen in any game. And I would love for someone smarter than me to explain to me what the fuck is happening with this. It's crazy. It's super hard to play on a controller that way. It's damn near impossible to play on a keyboard and mouse. And for an arena shooter, that's what I want to play on, is a keyboard and mouse, which is why I want to jump on PC and try it in the first place. So I don't know what's going on. I tried literally every combination of specs that you can change. I don't know if there's some setting that's turned on by default right now that we can't access and that's causing all this. I have no idea, but I'm working with what I could. You can see my MSI Afterburner GPU and CPU usage here. It doesn't add up. Nothing fucking adds up with this. So that left me a little salty, to say the least. And then there was everything else that I kind of already touched on before in the Xbox One video, except now I'm more certain of my opinions in this video. This isn't an arena shooter at all. Halo 5 is more of an arena shooter than this game, and Halo has always been considered like the lightest of all arena shooters. A lot of people wouldn't even consider an arena shooter. I do, but I understand where they're coming from if they don't. They realized after Halo Reach and Halo 4 that it wasn't a good idea. Loadouts did not work. They were unbalanced. They led to a lot of just chaos on the battlefield. And there was usually one or two loadouts that were objectively better than the other ones, and that the other ones just fucking sucked. Whether, maybe that someone would be better on different maps, but that's just the way it is. They went back to all weapon pickups on the ground, and on the lightest arena shooter ever. And there's fucking loadouts in Doom. Loadouts in a Doom game. I accidentally cut out the part that I was talking about this in the other video, but I'll get to it here. What kind of arena shooter has loadouts? It would be one thing if you had one set loadout, everyone spawned with, say, 2 grenades, the assault rifle, and some, lower power pistol or something like that. That would make sense. But this is like you spawn with a sniper rifle, an overpowered shotgun, which you could see is what I fucking wreck house with, so I'm always spawning with that. What happened to weapon pickups? That's like half the fun of an arena shooter. Matter of fact, that's most of the fun for me, is, memorizing weapon layouts, memorizing spawn times, all that sort of thing. And now all there is to drop is like a Gauss rifle and the demons. And everyone else is running around with some overpowered loadout as soon as they spawn. It's ridiculous. Who thought this was a good idea? Why are we, I hate to use this word, but why are we Call of Duty-izing an arena shooter? I understand this is what sells to console players, and I said this from the beginning. This will go well, very well on console because there's no competition, but here on PC, there's so many arena shooters. There's so many other, new upcoming titles like Unreal Tournament 4 that are actually to the roots arena shooters. And this is an abomination in terms of just the weapons loadout. That's not mentioning how slow the gameplay actually is. It does feel a lot like Halo movement, and I mean when you're not sprinting. Halo 5 is actually a faster paced game than this, which is crazy to say. You don't walk very fast at all, and obviously there's no sprinting, as there never has been in Doom. Not to say that they wouldn't do that again here, but it's super slow paced, and I thought maybe that was just had something to do with the field of view that I was experiencing on console, but even cranked up to the max on PC, it still feels super sluggish, and it does not feel like a arena shooter whatsoever. Everything, all this just kind of comes together. It does not feel like a fucking arena shooter, and it made me wonder, what the hell is id up to? Like, they nailed Wolfenstein. Why are they so, why are they sucking ass on this? There's fucking hack modules which you spawn in with, which are basically perks. I don't mind those so bad. They do actually have some decent gameplay innovation with that going on, I feel like, but, if you want a bare bones arena shooter, that shouldn't be there. There's slow movement, fucking weapon loadouts, what's going on? Oh, they're not making multiplayer. At least they're not the main ones behind it. Apparently, the company Certain Affinity are the ones that are working on multiplayer for the most part. Certain Affinity was founded back in, I don't know, maybe around the Halo 2 days by another Bungie employee, and had a bunch of good talent come in, and they've been working on different projects ever since. They made some Halo 2 and Halo Reach maps, I believe, or at least, worked on them with Bungie and 343. They had a hand in a little bit of Halo 4 maps, and what I think was their biggest issue was they also had their hand in Master Chief Collection. So I don't know how much of a part they contributed into fucking up the launch of Master Chief Collection's multiplayer, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that they had a reasonable hand in it, because the way their work is being reflected into this, it kind of makes sense now. I don't know why all these publishers think it's a good idea to outsource multiplayer or to outsource ports. Give your main boys more time, boys and girls, more time to work on the fucking game instead of trying to get it out in an unreasonable amount of time to where you have to split different sections of the game up. You know what I mean? Like Medal of Honor 2010, when it came out, wonderful campaign, story driven. It played pretty damn well, and it was made by the people who did Medal of Honor. And their name escapes me right now. I'll have to look it up later. I think it was Danger Close, I think was their name. But then the multiplayer was outsourced to DICE, and that seemed like a decent move because they were both under EA, and DICE was handling Battlefield multiplayer at the time. But these guys, Certain Affinity, they're just not affiliated with anyone. I don't understand why they were chosen. And like I said, I'm going to blame it on the publisher here, Bethesda. Why the fuck are you trying to split up workload to someone who has no experience with this, not only really the franchise itself, but the genre, really. I mean, it's not the same type of shooter as Halo, and that's really what they're turning it into. And I don't like it. I'm not the biggest Doom fan in the world, but I love arena shooters, and this isn't a fucking arena shooter. And I had watched campaign gameplay not too long ago, and it looked super fast-paced. It looked super brutal. It looked like a modernization of what Doom should have been and always have been, and it always has been with Doom 1 and 2 and Brutal Doom especially. And it looked super fun and looked like an arena shooter. And I was wondering why there was such a disparity between what I watched and the multiplayer, and now it makes sense. So I guess my final verdict is, if you want to play Doom, don't play it for this multiplayer. I will probably pick it up used, for in the bargain bin, or maybe get it for like $20 off of a friend or something who's played it. And, 100% the campaign if it's worth a damn, but it'll probably be, just fast-paced shooting and a couple cool bosses, which is what I expect. And maybe I'll hop on multiplayer for about an hour to confirm my suspicions that it's still the broken piece of garbage that it is right now, and be done with it, because this isn't Doom multiplayer. This isn't what it should be. And, you check the reviews on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and they're pretty damn good. Check them on PC, they're pretty abysmal, because, pretty much console players will just buy whatever's marketed best, whatever everyone else plays. And because they don't have as much choice as we do here on PC, it makes sense. So I fully expect this to be dead on all platforms in about 6 months, but especially on PC even sooner, and I know it's not going to sell well. And what will inevitably happen is that the execs at Bethesda will say, oh, well, apparently arena shooters don't sell anymore. Let's fucking can id, or do something even, more stupid, not realizing that they just butchered the fucking game from the beginning, and it's not the franchise's fault, nor the genre's fault. It's your fault. You fucked it up. And, that kind of sucks to say, because there are some cool elements like the glory kills, and even though the melee is really overpowered, and some of the gunplay is actually fun and feels somewhat refreshing on both platforms, but it's being drowned by all this baggage of just mediocrity, really. So, I could say for sure that I'm no longer in this is kind of average, and I think this is not a good game whatsoever, at least the multiplayer. I still have a little bit of hope for the single player. And I would love if they just fucking split it up where I can buy the single player for like $40. I would do that. I do not want to support this fucking practice, though. And they're talking about DLCs and shit already for the game launches. I'm done with it. I'm just absolutely done with it. So sorry to all you guys that have been looking for a true Doom game since, Doom 3 came out and kind of spit in the face of the old, Doom formula. I don't think you're going to find the good multiplayer in here. Look at Unreal Tournament 4 if you want a really good arena shooter. Look at Toxic. Hopefully it will get some support after launch and have a good player base. Hell, look at Quake 3 Arena or Quake Arena or Quake 3. They also have some decent player bases, but I don't think this is your game. Pick it up for if you want to gamble on the campaign, but stay away from this multiplayer. It's not great. Thanks for joining me on my final verdict of Doom 2016. I'd like to give a shout out to my Xbox One for running it as well as a PC that costs like 4 times as much than it does because of this shitty engine. And I guess we'll see you guys in hopefully arena shooters that are actually better than this one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.